Hey there, folks. Welcome back to Succinct Psychology, aka Succinct. My name is Jaia Hendrickson, and today I'm going to be starting out Chapter 13, our final chapter in Principles of Social Psychology. Now, again, I want to reiterate as always, these slides have been pulled from the University of Minnesota libraries, and they have been edited for presentational purposes. All right, so chapter 13 is going to be focusing on competition and cooperation in our social worlds. And some of the topics we're going to be examining more closely are going to be conflict, cooperation, morality, and fairness, how the social situation creates conflict, so the role of social dilemmas, and finally, strategies for producing cooperation. One of the most important themes of these chapters has been the extent to which the two human motives of self-concern and other concern guide our everyday behavior. We've seen that although these two underlying goals are in many ways in direct opposition to each other, they nevertheless work together to create successful human outcomes. Particularly important is the fact that we can't protect and enhance ourselves and those we care about without the help of the people around us. We can't live alone. We must cooperate, work with, trust, and even provide help to other people in order to survive. The self-concern motive frequently leads us to desire to not do these things because they sometimes come at a cost to the self. And yet in the end, we have to create an appropriate balance between the self and others. Most generally, we can say that when individuals or groups interact, that they either take a cooperative or a competitive stance. When we cooperate, the parties involved act in ways that they perceive will benefit both themselves and others. Cooperation is behavior that occurs when we trust the people or groups with whom we're interacting and are willing to communicate and share with those others. And with this, we're expecting to profit both for ourselves through the increased benefits that can be provided through the joint behavior with others. On the other hand, when we engage in competition, we attempt to gain as many of the limited rewards as possible for ourselves. And at the same time, we may work to reduce the likelihood of the success for other parties. Although competition is not always harmful, in some cases, one or more of the parties may feel that their self-interest hasn't been adequately met, and they may attribute the cause of this outcome to another party. In these cases of perceived inequity or unfairness, competition may lead to conflict, in which the parties involved engage in violence and hostility. Human beings, as members of cultures and societies, internalize social norms that promote other concern. And this comes in the form of morality and social fairness. And these norms guide the conduct that allows groups to effectively function and survive. As human beings, we want to do the right thing. And this includes accepting, cooperating, and working with others. And we'll do so when we can. However, as in so many other cases, we'll also see that the social dilemma frequently creates a powerful force that makes it difficult to cooperate and easy to compete. A social dilemma is a situation in which the goals of the individual conflict with the goals of the group. Although social dilemmas create the potential for conflict and even hostility, those outcomes are not inevitable. People usually think that situations of potential conflict are fixed sum outcomes, meaning that a gain for one side necessarily means a gain for other side or the other side or other sides. But this is not always true. In some cases, the outcomes are instead integrative outcomes, meaning that a solution can be found that benefits all parties. In the last section of this chapter, we'll consider the ways that we can work to increase cooperation and reduce competition. We'll discuss some of the contributions that social psychologists have made to help solve some important social dilemmas. Conflict is sometimes realistic in the sense that the goals of the interacting parties really are incompatible and fixed some. In a football game, for instance, only one team can win. And in the business world, there is a limited market share for a product. If one business does better by gaining more customers, then the other competing businesses may well do worse because now they have fewer customers left for them to get. Realistic group conflict occurs when groups are in competition for objectively scarce resources, such as when two sports teams are vying for a league championship, or when members of different ethnic groups are attempting to find employment in the same factory in a city. Conflict results in these conditions because it's easy and accurate to blame the difficulties of one's group on the competition produced by the other group or groups. Although many situations do create real conflict, some conflicts are more perceived than realistic because although they may have a core of realistic conflict, they're based on misperceptions of intentions of others or the nature of potential rewards. In some cases, while the situation is perceived as conflicting, the benefits gained for one party don't necessarily mean a loss for the other party, and outcomes are actually integrative. For instance, when different supply businesses are working together on a project, each may prefer to supply more rather than less of the needed materials. However, the project may be so large that none of the businesses can meet the demands alone. In a case such as this, a compromise is perhaps possible such that the businesses may be able to work together, and with each company supplying the products on which it makes a larger profit, therefore satisfying the needs of all the businesses. In this case, the parties may be better off working together than working on their own. As we've seen in many places throughout these chapters, helping others is a part of human nature. And cooperation and helping are found in other animals as well as humans. For instance, it's been observed that the highest status chimpanzees in a group don't act selflessly all the time. Rather, they typically share food with others and help those who seem to be in need. As humans, our desires to cooperate are guided in part by a set of social norms about morality. All cultures have morality beliefs, the set of social norms that describe the principles and ideals, as well as the duties and obligations that we view as appropriate and that we use to judge the actions of others and to guide our own behavior. Researchers have identified two fundamental types of morality: social conventional morality and harm based morality. Social conventional morality refers to norms that are seen as appropriate within a culture but don't involve behaviors that relate to doing good or doing harm toward others. There's a great deal of cultural variation in social conventional morality, and these norms relate to a wide variety of behaviors. Some cultures approve of polygamy and homosexuality, whereas others do not. In some cultures, it's appropriate for men and women to be held to different standards, whereas in other cultures, this may be seen as wrong. Even things that seem completely normal to us in the West, such as dancing, eating beef, and allowing men to cook for women, are seen in other cultures as immoral. On the other hand, some of the most important and fundamental moral principles seem to be universally held by all people in all cultures and don't change over time. It's been found that starting at age 10, children in most cultures come to a belief about harm based morality, which is that harming others, either physically or violating their rights, is wrong. These fundamental and universal principles of morality involve rights, freedom, equality, and cooperation, and virtually all cultures have a form of the Golden Rule, which prescribes how we should treat other people. And that's as we would have them treat us, of course. An essential part of morality involves determining what is right or fair in social interactions. We want things to be fair. We try to be fair ourselves, and we react negatively when we see things that are unfair. And we determine what is or isn't fair by relying on another set of social norms, appropriately called social fairness norms, which are beliefs about how people should be treated fairly. The preference for fairness has been proposed to be a basic human impulse, and we perceive unfairness. We also experience negative emotional responses in brain regions associated with rewards and punishments. The experience of fairness is associated with negative emotions, including emotions such as anger and contempt, whereas fairness is associated with more positive emotions. One type of social fairness, known as distributive fairness, refers to our judgments about whether or not a party is receiving a fair share of available rewards. Distributive fairness is based on our perceptions of equity, the belief that we should each receive for our work a share proportionate to our contributions. If you and I work equally hard on a project, we should both get the same grade on it. But if I work harder than you, then I should receive a better grade. Things seem fair and just when we see that these balances are occurring, but they seem unfair and unjust when they don't seem to be happening. A second type of fairness doesn't involve the outcomes of work itself, but rather our perceptions of the methods used to assign those outcomes. Procedural fairness refers to beliefs about the fairness or unfairness of the procedures used to distribute available rewards among parties. Procedural fairness is important because in some cases we may not know what the outcomes are, but we may nevertheless feel that things are fair because we believe that the process used to determine the outcomes was fair. For instance, we may not know how much tax other people are paying, but we feel that the system itself is fair, and therefore most of us endorse the idea of paying taxes. We do so not only out of respect for the laws that require us to do so, but also because the procedure seems right, proper, and part of the social structure of our society. We believe in the importance of fairness in part because if we didn't, then we would be forced to accept the fact that life is unpredictable and that negative things can occur to us at any time. Believing in fairness allows us to feel better because we can believe that we get what we deserve and we deserve what we get. These beliefs allow us to maintain control over our worlds, to believe that those who work hard are not rewarded and that accidents happen to good people forces us to concede that we too are vulnerable. Because we believe so strongly in fairness, and yet the world is not always just, we may distort our perceptions of the world to allow us to see it in a way that's more fair than it actually is. One way to create a just world is to reinterpret behaviors and outcomes so that the events seem to be fair. Melvin Lerner and his colleagues in 1980 found that one way that people do this is by blaming the victim, which is interpreting the negative outcomes that occur to others internally so that it seems that they deserve those outcomes. When we see that bad things have happened to other people, we tend to blame the people for them, even if they're not at fault. Therefore, we may believe that poor people deserve to be poor because they're lazy, that crime victims deserve to be victims because they're careless, and that people with AIDS deserve their illness. In fact, the more threatened we feel by an apparent unfairness, the greater is our need to protect ourselves from the dreadful implication that it could happen to us, and the more likely we are to criticize the victim. All right, folks, this is going to conclude my first video covering Chapter 13, our final chapter in Principles of Social Psychology, looking at conflict, cooperation, and morality, or competition and cooperation in our social worlds. I hope you guys found it informative, and I'll see you in the next video.